How we the lads? See what I did there? Welcome back to another video on the channel, Newcastle fans. I thought the soap opera stuff was going to be over with when the new owners came in, but I mean, would our club really be our club if we didn't have topsy-turvy weeks that you just don't hear of elsewhere? So, if you test your mind back 2 days ago, I posted a video on Unai Emery's Black and White Army. Fucking hell, that was awkward, wasn't it? I mean, before we touch on what looks like finally our new manager, can we just say, journalists have made themselves look like absolute mugs this week. Jesus Christ, literally, Tuesday night, it's done. Unai Emery's taken over. It is signed, sealed, delivered. Less than 24 hours later, it's not happening. I mean, Craig Hope, what's the bloke for the journal called? I can't remember. They all made themselves look like idiots. So it's not Count Dracula's Black and White Army, it's Eddie Howe's Black and White Army. Now, big news. We've finally got a manager in the door, and I think this one definitely splits opinion. I've already had a couple of chats with a couple of people about it. Some people are in favour, some people aren't. And I mean, for me personally, we've had Steve Bruce for 2 years, so I'm very much of the opinion of give this guy a go. And for a lot of different reasons. Firstly, Eddie Howe's always deserved a job at another football club. Let's forget about the relegation for a second. Lots of managers get relegated, especially, a club the size of Bournemouth. We'll touch on the transfers that he's had in the past, which pisses me off in a different way, so we'll get to that in a second. How many people do you know in world football, who can take a football club from almost getting relegated from the Football League, so the bottom of League 2, for anyone, just to clarify that, all the way to the Premier League? If your mate bounces into the pub and says that on his Football Manager PC game he's done that, you probably don't believe him. You're either going to call him a sado for spending too many hours on the computer, or he's used some sort of cheat. So Eddie Howe's done that in reality with a very, very small football club. Some people might not have even known Bournemouth had a football team before Eddie Howe came in and did what he did there. From League 2 to the fucking Premier League. Not just the Premier League like a West Brom, like a yo-yo team, up and down. He kept them there for 5 years. Have you seen the size of Bournemouth Stadium? It's tiny. That's what he did in the time he was there. And that is huge. And if you cast your mind back, I think a lot of journalists and a lot of people have very short memories, and I like to sort of take a step back and take it all in first before I give an opinion. And when Eddie Howe was first in the Premier League with Bournemouth and Wenger left Arsenal, people were touting him to take over at Arsenal. Good young coach, attacking philosophy, which the big clubs are looking for, good ideas, good enthusiasm, and one of the youngest managers in the Premier League. Now, because he's got relegated with Bournemouth, I think that's tainting a lot of people's sort of mindsets into like, he's not good enough for Newcastle. How's he going to deal with the relegation battle now that we're already in, if he couldn't do it the last time he was in the Premier Bournemouth? I just think it's unfair, and I think this guy deserves another crack of the whip. And I've read what The Athletic posted about how impressive it seemed that his presentation was to Amanda and the crew on what he saw his vision was with Newcastle. And I like to hear that. That should be music to our ears, and it certainly is for me. A guy sitting down and getting a full plan, because he'll watch the Premier League week in, week out. He knows Callum Wilson, he knows Ryan Fraser, he knows Matt Ritchie, he knows what our football club's about, he knows what our fan base is about, as everyone does in the country. He would have done his homework. And I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't the first time the club have been in touch with Eddie Howe over the last year or so. I really wouldn't. And I like to hear that he's so enthusiastic about the job. We want a man who wants to be there, but we also want a man with some fresh ideas. And I think what Eddie Howe's been guilty of, and I said the same thing about Unai Emery during his spell at Arsenal when we thought he was coming in, I think Eddie Howe's not the best defensive coach. So that would concern me. So I'm happy enough with the appointment, but that would concern me that we already shipping too many goals. Is Eddie Howe the man strong enough to sort that leaky defence out? time will tell. He was good enough to sort Bournemouth's defence out to keep them in the Premier League for 4 years, for 4 seasons. So, you know, we'll see. But he's young, he's enthusiastic, he's attacking. 90% of Newcastle fans want an attacking manager. I hear it all the time. You can argue whether that's because of the Keegan days. People will never move on from that. Other Bobby Robson days, let's not forget those. Those were good attacking football days as well. But that's what the fans want, regardless of what relegation battle we find ourselves in. If you were to do a poll tomorrow on what sort of tactical manager Newcastle fans wanted in, I would be shocked if it wasn't 65 to 70% attack, attack, attack. And Eddie Howe ticks those boxes. A lot of people didn't like Rafa Benitez. He splits opinions still. Bores the shit out of me. He splits opinion because he wasn't attacking. And that tells me everything about what Newcastle fans want. Now, a lot of people are getting on Eddie Howe's back because of the money he wasted at Bournemouth on Solanke and Ibe. How many managers do you know in world football who have not got a dodgy track record over the years here and there with transfers? Pep Guardiola, one of the gods of football management, spent 50 million on Nathan Ake. £50 million. If that kid's worth £50 million, then Jesus Christ, Paul Dummett, you've got a hefty price tag on your head. I'm sorry. Alex Ferguson, one of the greatest managers of all time, although it pains me to say it. Kleberson, Eric Jemba. What was that striker they had? That Portuguese striker who never... You know, Alex Ferguson has spent some money on some shite. Absolute shite. And he's one of the best managers in world football. So, again, for people to have this opinion of, well, he pissed money away on Solanke. Solanke at the time, don't forget, Solanke went to the Under-20 World Cup. He was part of that squad. Solanke was a good prospect at the time. He just wasn't getting the game time at Liverpool, as was Nathan Ibe. And yes, they were risky transfers and a hell of a lot of money was spent. But to judge a manager of Eddie Howe's age as well on 2 transfers, get away, man. Honestly, and that's what really pushed my buttons when I looked at some of the comments on social media today after this appointment was starting to get announced. Because I just think some fans and journalists and whatnot are very... They just have such short memories. And I think let's look at the bigger picture. What Eddie Howe did with Bournemouth from the bottom of League 2 to the Premier League is nothing short of phenomenal. You hear about managers doing that in Italy, Spain, Germany. People are going to go, who's this Eddie Howe kid? He's always deserved a job somewhere else. People go steal at football clubs. And I'm not being funny. Yes, some of his transfers didn't work out. But, God, if you'd have offered me at the start of the season super rich owners and Eddie Howe in over Steve Bruce, I'd snap your fucking hand off. What we need to do right now is get behind that bloke to the tilt. Howe the tune. That's what we need to be saying. Eddie Howe's Black and White Army is what we need to be saying, because if we don't sort our shit out soon, we are in deep trouble. Look at our December. Man City, Man United, Liverpool, Everton. Not easy games, and we have an awful Christmas period. So... Leicester, another team we've got in December. Leicester away, we have an awful December. So this Brighton game on Saturday is huge. I don't know whether he's going to be in charge for that, but let's just get behind him. Eddie Howe has not done enough bad in his career for anyone to say it's a terrible appointment. I'm sorry. Yes, we're rich now. That does not give us the God-given right to get some of the best managers in the world. Personally, yes, I did a video about it, so I look like a twat, as every Newcastle fan channel does right now. Unai Emery, I'm not surprised he turned us down. It's the job that every top coach, cup-winning coach, wants in the future, not right now. So let's get behind Eddie Howe, get out of this relegation shite. If we have Eddie Howe till March and we're safe and get someone new in, what's the problem? We've got to get behind this bloke, and I'm happy. Steve Bruce is out the door. A new, young, fresh coach is coming in. He's apparently presented well. He's keen for the job. He hasn't worked for a couple of years now, so he is desperate to get back in the management game. I'm sure Eddie Howe, to me, has always come across as an intelligent and a well-spoken manager, and we love that. He'll come across fantastic in his press conferences, and will surely take a shine to him. He needs to get results, though. He can definitely get Maximin, Almiron, Fraser, Wilson and co playing better than what Bruce did. I don't care what any fucker says. So let's just get behind him, see what we can do on Saturday. Let's see where there's a bit of a lift. I'm sure we'll have some sort of imprint on the team if he is going to be confirmed. And let's just see what the future holds. Brighton on Saturday, then an international break, then Brentford at home. We need some fucking points. So let's make the loudest noise we can at the Amex on Saturday. I'm sure the reception you'll get at St James's on the 20th will be fantastic and start picking up some points. Eddie Howe's Black White Army. As always, Newcastle fans, drop me the comments. Let me know whether you're happy with him, what your thoughts are, whatever you want, what you've had for your tea. I don't care. Let us know whether you go to the game on Saturday. And yeah, Howe the tune, Eddie Howe's Black White Army. Let's go. Can't get any worse, can it? Cannot get any worse.